Hello and welcome to Capricorn Makes. I'm Stacy and I just have some updates today because I had kind of wanted to make a video last week and I'm not sure what happened, but I didn't make one. Actually, I think it was an unusually busy week. I took a human costume commission for a friend of mine, and we really kind of started getting down to like measuring and fitting patterns that I currently have, because she's a similar size to me, but like quite a bit shorter. So I was just trying to figure out like where I would have to do my adjustments, because I have a really long torso and she really does not. So pretty much that size difference is all between like the hip and the bottom of the boob line. It makes it incredibly convenient because I already have patterns that I've made before, or I have patterns that like I haven't made before, but I have them physically, so I'm not having to draft patterns. And I spent quite a bit of time yesterday drafting the one pattern that I was going to need to draft, and I'm really pleased with the way that it came out. And I figured out like trim placement, because it's sort of like a long, sort of like a open armed surcoat thing. I'm not even sure what they're called, but it's kind of like the open fronted sleeveless vesty robes that are super voluminous, that like 1400s Italy maybe, kind of in there for men, not really for women, because it's sort of knee length in the front and kind of cascades and waves, and then it's longer, almost skirt length in the back. So it's kind of has a round hem, I think. That's the one thing I'm not entirely sure about, if I'm working off of like circle skirt proportions or if I don't know, I'll get there. It's fun. I'm actually really, really enjoying it. And this comes hard on the heels of my working on drafting doll patterns. Now, I have a bunch of printed patterns. Like one of the things that I did is I took one of my doll coordinate recipe books, two or both of them, that also had the when I was working on the Blythes, and I wisely, at the time that I was getting patterns to cut out, because you can trace and all that, but it just takes forever, but I also printed out the, I think they have the Elusis size patterns, and I also got those printed out on big rolls of architect paper, and I was actually going to start launching into actually sewing for my dolls, because there is a distinct lack of clothing around here. But then I took this commission and sort of like the next 2 weeks are going to be filled with that. Except that I'm still just absolutely raring to work on doll stuff, so I'm really going to have to be careful about how I pace myself. Now this is not finished because I need to remake my pattern, but this was from the pattern that I drafted, my first test piece, and I'm actually really quite pleased. Oh my god, dude, you're so big. So once I get all the hems in here, because this is just, the sides are just pinned and then this is just basted, like I'm really quite pleased with the sleeve length. It is a bit baggier than I had wanted, but I had made an adjustment to give more material under the arms because that's where the placement needed. So I'll probably slim it down just a little bit. Once it's hemmed, the length will be good. And then I need to make a major adjustment around the neckline. This is almost the same color as his body blushing, so it's a little hard to see. But this includes a 1/4 inch hem on here, except this is exactly where I want the neckline to sit. So I can probably save this shirt just by like being really, really careful about how I do my hemline, or possibly doing like a neckband to put in this one. But I need to take this apart and make the adjustments on my flat pattern. But otherwise I'm really quite pleased with this. It drapes really well because I'm using a really, really fine, what is this? It's not Tencel. I don't think it's Tencel. Possibly Tencel, possibly rayon, which is my favorite fabrics to wear. I love them. I love how soft they are. They just don't last very long. They peel really badly, and that's because the fibers themselves are really, really, really fine, but they just can't be beat for softness and lightness of drape. Like this will beat cotton hands down. And I don't know like if they really do knit cotton this finely, but this has such a nicer, finer hand for doll scale clothing. and like I wish I knew where to get more of it commercially, but like from fabric stores and things like that. Like if I go to the like really expensive high-end stores, fabric here is so stupidly expensive. But having said that, it's really easy to thrift this stuff because people wear it and then they get a hole in it or something like that, and then you have a perfectly serviceable shirt that, you know, has loads of material on it. But yeah, so I'm really pleased with this, and one of the reasons why I'm kind of in like a real fire to get him some clothing is because I ordered his head. I'm so pleased. I was saving and saving and saving, and I was talking about stuff, and my husband was like, so I just bought myself some new stuff. Was there anything that you wanted? Did you? And so I was like, I'm still like 2/3 of the way to my head that I wanted to order. And he's like, let's just order it because I know there's a wait time. I'm like, you're the best. So, yeah, so I'm excited. His head is on his way home. I don't know when it'll be here. Like it could be here, like it could be ready to ship as early as like early December. No, put you down. It could be early to ship as early December, but it may not be here until February, or I might not get it until March because I'm going in February to visit my family in the States for a few weeks, and so I won't be home. And we'll have a pet sitter here, so I won't be missing a package or anything like that coming from overseas. But you guys, it's so exciting. But yeah, then I was thinking about wigs, and Visley Putsley, who is an art doll maker, Anna, I think she's Russian, I can't remember her name, but she just did she just is working on a blonde doll that she has used locks wrapped around a dowel, and then she has snipped off all of those little curls and arranged the curls on there. So it's a short male wig, and it's just absolutely to die for, and I'm going to be making that kind of wig, I think, for him, except I want it in like black or dark brown or something like that. And if I can swing it, I would love to have some gray at the temples because he's not super young, and I do really kind of like that graying look. I'm going to tell you this, my husband is going to be like really sad, not that he watches these videos, but my husband's been graying for quite some time, and he has like the distinguished look and all the silver through his hair, and I call it his tinsel because it's all sparkly. But I love it, and I would love to figure out how to duplicate that, and I believe with the way that she has, with the way that she's manipulating the fabric or the fiber in these particular wigs, if I can find some like silver that I like well enough, and I may have to use a different sort of fiber. I have some gray wool that is very distinctly like silver gray and shiny. I may have to use that instead of the mohair because I can't find it, it wouldn't matter, it'd be all crinkly. But I have a big bag of mohair with like the right sort of tight curls. Now she's taken, I think, a straight fiber and wrapped it around a dowel to make those curls, but I don't think I'll need to do that because I think I have enough actual curls of mohair. But we'll see. I may actually need to use a longer fiber that's been set like that in order to get the proper type of curls, but I will be experimenting. She has enough in-progress photos that I can blatantly copy her work. I mean, like, she's using basic wig techniques. It's just, she's manipulating short fibers in the way that like curly wig makers would be doing like larger curls, and so she's doing the same thing, just miniature, and I'm not copying the wig precisely, but yeah, it was very inspiring. It's always really, really neat to find something that something new that you're inspired about. Speaking of inspiring, I've been having some wonderful conversations with people in the community recently about sort of like the nature of collecting and like why we are sharing on social media, like on Instagram and on YouTube, and like somebody asked me like straight up, like why you know, what's your, how do you find motivation, do you feel pressured, that kind of stuff, and really my answer is I don't, because I'm doing this for me, you know. It's like if other people take like inspiration or enjoy my energy, or they watch it while they work, or they stumble upon my videos and it opens them up to something that I'm doing, you know, I take that as a win. But I'm sharing sort of as a way to sort of help keep myself on track and help keep myself motivated. And y'all are just sort of a byproduct of that. But I'm glad you're here. Yeah, speaking of finishing things, hat. I was knitting this in the last video, and I love it. You really can't see the details on the black, that's okay. But they're just wonderful. Having these two hats, I had been kind of low on hats, so having two new hats in my rotation that actually match the clothes that I wear. I don't really wear all that much black, but I wear a lot of super bright colors that have black as an accent, so having a neutral black hat actually works with quite a lot of the things that I wear. And then, oh yeah, alpaca shearing. So there were 2 huge days, and I came home with 3 huge fleeces. So I had 3.5, maybe 4 fleeces from before. Oh yeah, see all these bags? Like, these are large kitchen trash bags. And these are, well, these are feed bags here, but these are large. And I came home with 3 of these big bags. And these aren't even like, I think I came home with like 1 adult fleece and 2 like yearlings, so it was their first shearing. Whew, man, it's wonderful. So I ended up with, so I have lots of black. This particular breeder is known for their black. It's the lines that they work on the most. So this isn't their darkest black. This is I think it's called Bay Black, and they focus on getting a really dark black. It is also dusty. It'll be darker once it's washed. But I won't do that until I'm ready to process it, because having flat surfaces with towels and fiber everywhere is just, no. But I wanted something that was a little bit of a softer black so that I could pair it with all the browns that I picked up. My favorite fleece that I got this year is actually probably the least nice fleece that I got, but it was such a fabulous color, and I'll be able to process it in such a way that won't be a big deal. Is this fleece that it is kind of tricolored, although I don't think I managed to pull all 3 colors in here, out of here. So it's this really dark, it's a really dark, really cool brown. It's not as dark as this black is, though. Again, I'm not sure on camera. Oh yeah, you can see. So it's super dark, like super dark chocolate brown. And then there's this sort of intermediate buff color, and then there's this like reddish brown, which of course I didn't grab any out of the bag, and I'm not going to because it'll take me forever, but then I've got like sort of a reddish-ier brown that's with this, so that I can do color work. And again, this goes with these browns a lot better. And then on top of that, I also got, I may as well have all of it here, I also got a buff, what are these called? Fawns. So this is significantly lighter than this brown, although again, I don't know how true these colors are going to be. And then to add to that, I have, here we go, this is a white from a previous year, and this will probably wash up pretty white. I mean, like, you really don't get like super white, but this is like some paper, so like paper white is significantly whiter, but this will be quite nicely white. But I have such an amazing array of colors here that I will be able to do some color work when I'm ready to start working on stuff, and I'm so excited. It's fun just handling it all again. And it was really clean this year. Like one of the previous years was it had been like a super wet winter, and so the fleeces they weren't muddy, but because they have to be dry to be sheared, like everything was dry, but they were a lot more, they had been a lot more wet over the course of the year's growth, and so there was more like stuff stuck in it, like moss and grass clippings and things like that, that the animals had just picked up over time. And so there's much less of that this year, so it's really, so like this is definitely, like you can see like there's more tips from it being wet, there's more pieces of just like stuff all stuck in it. And this will fall out, like when I process it, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I'm like, this stuff, like, I don't know, doesn't really matter. Anyway, alpaca fuzz. It was wonderful. There were babies. They were peeking at me. The shearers were fun. The helpers were fun. There weren't too many or too little people, so flow worked really well. I didn't have to be up and down on the floor, which was good because I hurt my foot. And like I sprained my toe, which because of how I did it also sprained like my foot and my ankle and kind of up the side of my leg a little bit. And like they sort of healed like in reverse order. Like my knee felt better and then my ankle felt better and then my foot felt better and now my toe is better to the point where like it's fine. Like when I'm moving around or walking, I don't notice it, but like if something gets pressed or if it gets bent like the wrong way, it hurts a lot. But when I first did it, I thought I broke my toe and I'm like, oh, this is so inconvenient. But it didn't, so everything's okay. So in less good doll news, a while ago I had discovered a thing on her hand, and you're not going to be able to see this. I can't hardly get photos of it, which is one of the reasons why I hadn't really brought it up sooner. I had tried maybe 4 or 5 times to try and actually do a photo shoot to see it. But she has 2 hairline cracks on this hand. And I was a little bit nervous because I didn't know if they were cracks originally. I wasn't sure if they were sanding lines because they're both parallel to one another on different fingers, and one of them crosses through like the nail bed. But I went over her pretty carefully when I first got her, and I was pretty positive that they weren't there when I first got her. And she had a fall that I thought she hit her face on, but a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think she hit her face. I think she actually fell forward and hit like her hand, and it just damaged the fingers there. Now it's really sturdy. They're like spiral fractures, so they're actually supported all the way through, which sometimes like on long pieces that can be quite dangerous, but like one of the reasons why I was having such a hard time determining if these were like if it was a breaker or what, was because they are so sturdy. They do feel so sturdy, and there isn't a gap or anything like that. But when I went on Gem of Doll's website, they sell hands, which is good, but they don't sell hands for this body. Now this is a limited body, but she does share hands with the 1/4 girl body, so that's good. So I emailed Alice's Collections, which is where I bought her from, and I was like, hey, do you think you could ask Gem of Doll if they would sell me a replacement hand for her, because I would like some, I need some. And they were like, oh no, I'm so sorry that happened to your doll. Oh, they got back with me, by the way, within under 2 hours, which, you know, is pretty dang fast and for customer service. And they're like, yep, $10, no problem, woo. And I was like, sweet, that I will take that for replacement parts for a limited body, $10. I'm sold. So I have that coming, and that is exciting. But because it'll get shipped to them, I was like, you know, instead of paying like whatever the airmail fee is, I could just tack on a couple of pieces of things, because I really wanted a pair of shoes for Thasseon because his head's coming home, so I'm gonna need shoes to actually have him in a full outfit, which doesn't matter so much for her, but I actually do, like the type of clothes that I want him to wear, he really needs some. Yes, that was some unhappy doll news that turned into some good doll news. And I also picked up some eyelashes that I think are going to be a good color for him, because I had some here, but I didn't like, they were too girly, I think. Like, not that I couldn't cut them up a little bit, but I ordered some that I had been looking at for a while. So I ordered a pair of shoes and 2 pairs of eyelashes, and her hand will be coming. So I don't have an estimate on that, because I'm pretty sure Gem of Doll will just cast it the next time that they have like a white resin order that they're doing stuff with. So I'm also not terribly, because her hand is not you know, falling off or anything like that, or falling apart. Just the fact that I have it on order is good. So who knows when that will come. Back to the commission really quickly. Most of the fabric that I am using actually came from my stash. One of the things that I do when I'm out thrift hauling is sort of keep an eye on what fabrics that are like curtains or bedspreads or things like that that are in really good condition, that can also be like that are in enough quantity for a garment. And one of the things that I found was this like fabric that has fleur-de-lis on it, and it's reversible, and it has it matches a whole bunch of other stuff that I had that fit this woman's character concept for the costume that she needs. And so that's really great. But one of the things that she fell in love with was a scarf of mine that I'm not sure I'm really willing to part with. But I needed something similar, and based on some of the patterns, not patterns, but some of the inspiration photos she sent me, she needed something drapey and she needed something sheer. And I found this fabric, and we'll see if I can, gosh, like it just, I can't, it doesn't show up at all on, this stuff is like holographic gold smoke. Like, I don't think it really shows up at all on film, but this is like, it's like handling smoke, and it shines. Oh, there we go. You can get the shimmer. But I mean, look at this. I mean, this whole thing from my perspective is shiny shimmery like that. Like, I don't know how to really show off. Like, I've been trying to take pictures of it. I've been trying to I've been trying to capture this, like, and I can't seem to capture it on film at all, just how stupidly, fabulously sparkly and liquid. I mean, it's like mercury knitting. It is wild. But while I was finding this at the store, because this is a piece that I bought, I got some hollow fabric for leggings. So this has like little dots, and that's, I think, what makes it that looks so sparkly. And this is actually like flat printed fabric, so it's black fabric that's printed. I think this is 4-way stretch, which it can accommodate because of it's just dots, and this is only 2-way stretch. But I got a half of a yard of both of these, and this will be my reward sewing for when I am done with my commission. But I'm so excited about that. The other things I picked up are, at the store are some hot glue and some Mod Podge, so that I can do some sueding on my dolls, because I'm like, you know, there are these things that I keep putting off, and I kind of want to try some hot glue sueding. I actually found some leather that I want to go back and get, but I ended up buying this stuff instead, so I'll have to wait on leather until next week, I think. And I also got some different acrylic yarn to try a different style of yarn wig, because this other one that I had, this has been pressed. This has actually been flat ironed. This fluffy craziness has regained most of its curl, which is not really what I wanted. And I've seen other people have other problems with this before, and I'm pretty sure it's the humidity here, because as soon as the seasons started changing and things started to get more like humid from spring stuff that's happening, that's when it started doing this. Like, this is the wig on her. It's not as bad as that other one, which I think I flat ironed this. I re-flat ironed this one, and it's still just like super crazy, poofy, fluffy, and it's lost all of the shine that it had, which I find to be really weird. So I'm going to try again with a different kind of yarn, and we'll see how that goes. So, but I have, I wanted to try the Mod Podge for that. We'll see. We'll see. I'm just trying. Like, I'm learning. This is one of those things you iterate the process until you find things that you really like. But the other reason why I was really keen to get glue is because of GinaIsArty and K-Birds came up with this idea to redo the Den of Angels Triathalon challenges from previous years just for funsies, and you don't really super have to like stick to the rules. You just sort of have to kind of maybe follow the themes that they're doing and just have fun playing around with things for your dolls, which I think is a wonderful idea. Now, here's where time gets weird. I live in the future for most of you, so it is tomorrow, which is Sunday, except by the time that I edit this video, because their thing is from Sunday to Sunday, so technically it starts today for me, but not till tomorrow until everybody else that's in like the US and most of like Europe and things like that. But it's, by the time I get this video up and you watch this, it's probably going to be Monday for you or Tuesday, so it will have already started. But don't despair, because this isn't like a real challenge or like there's no prizes or anything like that. It's just for the fun of playing along. If you think that it's a fun idea, definitely look it up. I can't remember which year they're doing, but it's the one where you're doing a wig that has like using non-traditional materials, so like no yarn, no animal fiber, no like fake hair products, things like that. It has to be something that is like not generally used as wig making fibers. And then paper shoes, and then I can't remember what the third one is, but I'm pretty sure like either GinaIsArty or K-Birds will have more information, and I'll try and remember to link them below. But I definitely want to jump in on this if I can find time between commission work. I might do my entries a little bit later because there isn't an official site or anything. It's just anybody who wants to play along can play along, and boy howdy do I want to play along, because I'm in a really good mood, if you couldn't tell. And on that note, I think I will say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.